the highest interest rate in years, the lowest amount of homes built in a decade, and what does this all result in? The highest quarterly growth in rental prices in nearly 2 decades. Australia has reported a 17% growth in rental prices in the first quarter of 2024. Now this is an astonishing number, but we're going to zoom out and see what this means for the everyday Australian, and going to look over the last 4 years of rental price increases for the everyday Australian. And of course, let's talk about what we all really want to know, how much our greedy landlords are jacking up our prices. So we're going to start with the national median average from 2020 to now. The national average coming into 2020 was $469, with a national growth of 34.32% over this period, coming in at a price tag of $630 in 2024. But this is just the national average. So let's dive into this a little bit more and go over each capital city one by one. In 2020, the median house price for Perth, Hobart and Darwin came in with a respective $420, $460 and $550. Perth has had the highest growth over the last 4 years with a 54.76% rise in rental prices, coming in at $650 in 2024. Hobart had a respectable growth of 19.56%, now coming in at $550 in 2024. And Darwin, much like Hobart, had a growth of 18.18%, coming in at $650. The Home Industry Association reported in 2023 that 163,000 homes were built, and they projected out that over the next 5 years, Australia would need another 1.2 million homes. If Australia was to continue building at its current rate, it would take us nearly 7 years to achieve that number. Or, in other terms, we would fall short by 380,000 homes. Now, with all that being said, if you really liked today's video, please do like and subscribe and comment down below your thoughts and opinions on this current crisis everyday Australians are going through right now. Now, it doesn't take a mathematical genius to know that if you fall short by a target by 380,000 items, something's going to go wrong. And what's going wrong in this situation? Everyday Australians are being punished and being forced to fork out more and more to their rent. But I digress. So let's go over the rest of them. We got Canberra, Melbourne, Brisbane and Sydney coming in with $600, $420, $440 and $550 respectively. Canberra had the lowest rise in rental prices with a 14.16% rise in rental prices, bringing them up to $685. Brisbane had an insane growth of 45.88% over this period, coming in now at $620. Sydney and Melbourne both had predictably high growth over this 4-year period with 36.36% and 29.54%, equating in final prices of $570 and $750 respectively. My real question to you, to sum this all up, is would you want to live in Darwin now for the same price it costs to live in Sydney? Now, as you see in front of you, if the last 4 years are to predict the next 4 years of rental prices in Australia, this is what we could be looking at for Australia's future in the rental market. Sydney, though still the most expensive, came in with a predictably high $1,023 average. But the most shocking out of this is Perth, going from one of the most affordable cities in Australia to now possibly being a contender for the most expensive capital to rent in Australia, with a price tag of $1,006. That is insane. To go from the cheapest to one of the most expensive places to rent, this would mean the national average would go from $630 to $846, a $216 price rise on median average rental prices in Australia. Now, just remember, this is just an indicator. This is no way what is going to happen in Australia, but it is a good indication that if Australia doesn't fix something now, this is what Australia could be looking at in its very near future.